Hello from London, Gareth here, and it's Thoughts on Thursday. And today I'm very pleased to have Jack Fordon to talk to, who's with me from Heidelberg. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag, hi.
I know Jack from Polyglot events, actually. We met at the Polyglot Gathering in Bratislava last year. And then I saw him by accident later on YouTube, because he's also got a YouTube channel where he actually YouTubes in Russian mainly, and I've heard him YouTubing in German as well. And he's really interesting because he's somebody who's, I think you're American. Where are you from in America,
Yeah.
Jack?
I'm from Michigan.
From Michigan.
Yeah.
Jack has decided to go and study Slavic studies and Slavic languages, but actually in Germany. So you're at the University of Heidelberg now. What's your course called?
It's called Slavic in German. It's a 3-year bachelor program. And and also my minor is in Chinese.
A minor in Chinese, some light relief.
Yeah.
So how does that happen then? I mean, you're doing a high school in Michigan, and you suddenly decided I'm gonna go to Germany to study.
Well, when I was in high school, I kind of just couldn't wait to get out of my little area of the world, and so I applied to several different programs to study abroad when I was in high school. And at the time, I really wanted to go to China. And so I applied for the scholarship to go to China, and I got rejected. But then in the rejection letter, kind of to soften the blow, they had a whole list of other scholarships that you could apply for. And then one was to go to Germany, and I had been taking German at school, so I decided to apply, and then I got it. And I spent my senior year of high school, which is 12th grade for us, at Gymnasium in Germany. And then after being there for a year, I just wanted to keep on staying in Germany. I kind of fell in love with the country, so yeah.
So you were about 18 then, 17 or 18 then?
Yeah, I turned 18 during that year.
And so then you went home, graduated from high school, and applied to go to Heidelberg?
Yeah, I transferred the credits from the classes that I took in Germany during that year, so that I still graduated on time. I still got my diploma basically right when I got back, even though I missed the official graduation ceremony. So, and then afterwards, I still had to take a German exam to prove that I had a sufficient knowledge of the language to study. So, and in America, we have this tendency to want to ship off straight to school right after we're done with school. So my parents were kind of like, okay, you got to choose a school. So I ended up going to New York University satellite campus in Shanghai, China for half a year. And when I was in Shanghai, I took the German exam at the local Goethe Institute. And when I got back, I transferred.
So, and you were able to, so you'd actually registered in the Shanghai campus at New York University.
Yeah.
And so, and then you took those credits and transferred them to Heidelberg then?
I actually couldn't transfer any credits for university, but that didn't really matter because I was going to study something totally different.
Yeah.
So, the one thing I could do is for my minor in Chinese, I could skip a semester of the introductory course, which goes over 2 semesters. But besides that, there wasn't much I could transfer.
Yeah. And what's the process of applying to go and study in a foreign university, and in your case, a German one? Of course, it was going to vary according to the country. Was it much more work, much more complicated? Things had to be done in German, presumably. You had to do this language exam you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Any other factors people need to bear in mind?
Yeah. So for me, it was a bit more complicated applying. It's also a totally different process than in America. In America, we have something. It's called the Common Application, which is basically you apply to 20, 30 different schools at once. And that's why there's always such a high rejection rate, because people apply to so many different schools, and it's just one application, so you don't need to send out multiple applications. And in Germany, and I also applied to a few schools in Austria, I had to send out a separate application to each school, and they all require different things. And I obviously had to take the language exam too. For Germany, you need to start immediately to study. You need at least C1 in the language. If you have a B2, you can go to something that's called a Studienkolleg for a semester, and then it'll get you to the C1 level, presumably.
So that's an advanced level in the language, basically.
Yeah. So I actually took the C2 exam.
Did you?
And,
You must have come along leaps and bounds during your final high school year in Germany.
Definitely, yeah.
So you felt confident about
this...
that, about your linguistic ability.
Well, I actually recently was just clearing out my computer, and I came across this video that I had to do for German class in 11th grade. And I mean, my German wasn't that bad back then, but comparing to my German now, it did sound really funny. So that year in Germany, definitely, it showed me the culture, and it just expanded my language abilities so much that it's really it's hard to compare to how it was before.
I suppose many people in your position might have thought, I'll go off to study German in Germany, or possibly history or medicine or whatever, but then to go off and study a third set of languages with Slavic studies, Slavistic, you're doing Russian and Czech, I think, and you mentioned
Croatian.
Serbian, yeah? Oh, Croatian.
Yeah.
That's an additional step, it seems.
Yeah, well, I knew I wanted to study languages, and I didn't really want to study German because I figured, I would be getting enough German anyways just from living in Germany. So I looked at what there was offered, and I had never really had any contact to Slavic languages before starting to go to school here. And I figured, okay, I might as well apply to this program. And that's another difference to the U.S., that in the U.S. you just apply to the school, and in Germany you apply to a certain track. So you apply to study Slavic languages or Slavic studies at a school, or you apply to study environment studies at a different school. So I applied to different programs at each of these schools, and I don't regret it so far. I really love it. It's shown me so much of the world.
Is it difficult in Germany in Heidelberg? I suppose there may be differences in different universities, but to change majors then later on,
it's not terribly difficult if you do it up until the third semester. So I switched my my minor from geography to Chinese in my fourth semester. So I had to go and get a bunch of I can't think of the word. A bunch of basically documents signed from my teachers, which allowed me to switch my major. But if you do it up to the third semester, you can just go to the rectorate or whatever, and you tell them, yeah, I'd rather study this. But the thing is also, there's certain subjects in Germany that you have to be admitted to, and you can't switch to those on a whim. You need to apply again. But to the ones where there's not a certain amount of students that are allowed to study, you can just switch. So
there's a cap on things like medicine, dentistry.
Yeah.
The really expensive fields where it's expensive to train people, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about all the the terminology's in German in my head, so I kind of have to think about.
That's one of the great things of going to live and study in a different country, I suppose. You're experiencing and learning the vocabulary really in context, and it doesn't matter what it is in any other language, including your own, because you're living it, I suppose. Talking about life as a foreign student there, first of all, what about the costs? How's the fee situation compare in Germany from what you would have faced at home, for example?
Well, it's definitely a lot cheaper. School in the U.S. is very expensive, as most people know. The cheapest you can get away with is around, I'd say, mid 20,000 range in dollars. So it's very expensive, and I know people that have gone to school for up to 60,000 a year. And here I pay each semester. There's Studiengebühren, there's semester fees, and those are only around 150 euros. But then you also have to factor in living and travel costs, because I do go back to the States to visit my family about once or twice a year. So it still comes out a lot cheaper than if I were to have studied at any U.S. university.
And what about things like medical cover?
That's also very cheap, and it's very simple. The U.S. has this really convoluted healthcare system. And in Germany, it was really straightforward, especially for students. So when I got here, there were a few things that I needed to get before I could officially enroll. And one of them was health insurance. So basically, they told me where to go and where students get a special like discount on health insurance and whatnot. And I went there, I registered, and that was it. And so that costs around 90 euros a month.
And what about attitudes of other students towards you as an American? Are there other people doing something similar? Or are you something of a curiosity to people?
Well, for people studying Slavic studies, the main foreigners are from Slavic countries. So there's a lot of Russians, quite a few people from Croatia, from the Balkans. But no, I'm the only American, which doesn't bother me. I didn't really come here to study with other Americans, so it's kind of fine by me.
Yeah. And how about having to write papers in German? Presumably some of your compositions will be in the target languages, but maybe you have to write about linguistics or literature of the Slavic languages actually in German. I don't know. How's that? Because I always find writing for me is the hardest challenge, but I don't know. What's your experience?
So all of my like big essays that I've had to write at the end of every course have been in German so far. There have been smaller things that I've had to write. Well, except when I was on exchange, then I had to write in the language of the country. But in Germany, they've all been in German. And I think it's helped my writing a lot in the language. And it's definitely caused me to become less of a good writer in English because I just don't practice it that much anymore. But the teachers, they know if you're a foreigner, they'll take Rücksicht and they'll I can't.
Yes, they'll take that into account, I suppose.
Yeah, they'll take that into account, and basically, it's I think it's a pretty good experience too.
What are the living arrangements for students? Do people live in halls of residence or fraternity houses, or how's that done in Germany?
So there are dormitories and there are so-called fraternities. They're called Studentenverbindungen in German. But I don't know what it's like in the UK, but in the US, fraternities it's almost kind of a lifestyle. You live with a bunch of other guys in a house, and there's this whole process to get accepted. And in Germany, these Studentenverbindungen are usually religious in some way, shape, or form. So if you're Protestant or Catholic and you want to go live with people that have the same religion as you, then that would be a motive to move into one of these fraternities. Otherwise, dormitories it's really the exception to the rule, because there's only about 10 to 15% of students are able to live in dormitories because they just don't have enough. So generally, about 80% of cases, people live in their own rented apartments, or there's Wohngemeinschaften, WGs, which are basically just like students living together in apartments. So generally, students live on their own and not on campus.
Yeah. And I seem to remember I spent some time as a graduate student in Heidelberg moons ago. We rented, for students, we rented an apartment on a private market. But students seem to be much more settled in where they lived, whereas in Britain there's a tradition of, after every year, changing your room, moving halls, or renting somewhere else. They seem to sign a lease for several years.
Anglo-Saxon, it's the same thing in the US.
Yes, yeah. So sometimes the expectations and the way things are organised are a bit different. So you're enjoying it then? You're not regretting the decision to come to Germany to study?
Not at all, no. And I mean, especially studying what I'm studying, it's given me the opportunity to see so many different parts of the world. I've spent time in all of the countries whose languages I'm learning right now. So spent a half year in Russia, half year in the Czech Republic, 2 months in Croatia. So no, I'm not regretting it at all.
And do you have any tips or final words to say for anybody who's sitting at home, probably in an Anglo-Saxon speaking country, if they're watching this, thinking I'd like to go abroad to study through the medium of a different language?
Well, actually, one of my friends from Serbia, what he did when he decided he wanted to study in Germany, is that he sat down basically every single day and he just worked on the language. And really, it's possible to do it from home because Serbians aren't in the European Union, so they can't just travel to Germany without a visa to practice the language. But he learned German all on his own. He speaks it very well. So if people don't have the opportunity to travel beforehand to practice the language, it's definitely possible to do it from home through the medium, through the internet or books. And I would just say it can be a challenge, but it's a really great experience. So if anyone out there is considering it, I would say definitely go for it.
And be ready to get your language up to that high level first before you
start. Generally for countries that have more foreign students like Germany, France, they'll expect at least a C1 level. If you want to study in Czech, they'll even let you in at a B2 because not many people from abroad come to study there. But it's a challenge, but it's definitely worth it.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for taking time to talk to us. Good luck with the rest of your studies. And viel Erfolg.
Danke. Bis dann.